Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, March 24th. Ian Cameron with you. We will have Matt Robinson joining us in just a little bit as well, ready to break down this Tuesday NHL slate. And it is a fantastic slate of NHL action. I don't think it's hyperbole, honestly, to say that this is probably one of the best cards of the NHL season, one of the biggest nights of the NHL season. Just when you factor in that really you've got tons of playoff implications across the board here in this NHL slate for this Tuesday night, 15 games on tap, and the fact that it's a big day for the show because we've not only got our regular show right here, right now, to break down the slate and the entire card as we always do, but we also have tonight our first live betcast in quite some time. It's been a while, since we've had a betcast. It's been certainly way too long. And when you look at the, it's basically late February, the last time we were with you on a betcast. But we did say to you that because of the NCAA tournament and how busy it was going to be with March Madness, we would have to, temporarily put a hiatus on the betcasts. But that ends tonight. Looking forward to it. Live betcast tonight, Tuesday, March 24th, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. DM or email me or Alex for a spot on the betcast. We'll be with you through the entirety of this card, from the opening puck drop right through to the last game of the night. So make sure you join us tonight for our live betcast. Like I said, it's a huge night of hockey. We're excited about it and excited to break this down. So DM or email either me or Alex for a spot on the betcast. Alex is not on the show this afternoon, but he is ready to go for the betcast tonight. He will be on during that later tonight. So excited about that. Make sure you join us for it. It begins at 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, this is a free-for-all betcast. It's open to everybody. So we encourage you to join us tonight for this live betcast on a big night of NHL hockey. We'll briefly talk about last night. There's not really much to say other than that's absolutely pathetic by the New York Rangers. And if not for the heroics and spectacular play of Igor Shesterkin, that could have been 8-1 for Ottawa last night. He was brilliant. The rest of the team was not. In that loss to the Ottawa Senators last night. Pretty embarrassing when you think of it, that all they could muster was 9 shots on goal. You couldn't even hit double digits in shots on goal on home ice. I know you suck and you're a bad team, and Ottawa has been playing well and certainly with significant motivation to make the playoffs, and they've been shutting teams down defensively. They've been holding teams to lesser number of shots on goal, not giving up as many quality chances or grade A looks lately, this Ottawa team, but still not to have a better performance than that is shameful for the New York Rangers on a night where they honored Mika Zibanejad before the game for his 1,000th career NHL game, big milestone night. And like I said, just disappointing for the Rangers to be that bad. By the way, he's stealing money from the Rangers right now, JT Miller. What an atrocious display of effort he showed on multiple occasions last night, whether it was loose puck battles, whether it was trying to make something happen. Absolutely hideous effort. And I know he acknowledged it after the game, but like I said, too little too late. Do something about it on the ice. But Ottawa did what they had to do. That game shouldn't have been that close, but at the end of the day, they get a 2-1 victory and a much important 2 points over the New York Rangers to get them within 1 point of the Detroit Red Wings with that big showdown between the Sens and Red Wings. Now, that win for Ottawa came at a cost. They lost not one but 2 defensemen to injury, Thomas Chabot, Lassie Thompson, and both of those guys out indefinitely, will not play tonight against Detroit. So they win the game. They get a huge 2 points, but they certainly pay the price, at least to some extent, with that. We had Ottawa team total over. If you were a Patreon member, you know that. We took a little shot with the team total over 3.5 and a smaller shot with the over 5.5. So we didn't come up victorious with either one of those, but we did come up victorious with the bargain bin special of the night. I know we didn't have a show yesterday because there was only one game, but I did on the Patreon page post Warren Fogle, the Fogue Daddy for the Ottawa Senators, plus 400.
to find the back of the net. He had scored in 2 straight games, now make it 3 straight games with a goal for Warren Foegele last night. So nice to be able to cash another bargain bin special in that one and only game on the card on Monday night. Matty Robb is in the house now with us. Matt, anything you want to add? Sens Rangers.
I watched the game. One game on the card. Just didn't watch any hockey last night, so I did.
Matt, your audio is all warbly and garbled and cutting out. So what I would say is actually exit the studio, come back in, see if that does the trick. Or yeah, check everything that's connected. But either way, yeah, Matt didn't sound right there for a second. Say something now, Matt. How is it? All right, we'll let him set that up. But yeah, like I said, it's going to be an interesting night. It's a big night. There's lots of playoff implications across the board, and certainly excited to see it play out here on this Tuesday night. We'll see if we can get Matt's audio back. But in the meantime, we'll get cooking here on this Tuesday slate. 15 games. We'll begin with the Toronto Maple Leafs and Boston Bruins. Boston minus 190, home favorites, 6.5 the total here in this one. Certainly the Leafs, we know. Let's see, Matt. Try it now.
Is it any better?
No, it's still the same. Holy shit. All right, let's see. Check your audio settings at the bottom, see what that does. But yeah, we got some audio issues right now with Matt, so a little disconcerting with that. But yeah, this game, obviously, Boston, they've been awesome on home ice, of course, for the better part of the last month or two. They're on this great home ice run that they've been on. Jeremy Swayman's in net. Jeremy Swayman is why they beat Detroit. Detroit actually probably should have beat Boston the other night, but you look at it, and Boston was certainly outplayed, but Swayman rose above it and was absolutely spectacular. He faced over 40 shots in that victory over the Detroit Red Wings, that big ABC showdown on Saturday night. And he's been playing some excellent hockey in net for the Bruins of late. It will be Anthony Stolarz for Toronto tonight, who was supposed to start against Ottawa on Saturday, but took that puck pre-game that kept him out, and they forced them to basically go back to Joseph Woll in net for that Senators game on Saturday. But Stolarz is fine, good to go, and he has been tabbed as the starting goalie here tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs in this game. I think I like the first period over in this game simply because Toronto games, we've had those quick starts. We've had goals early. I could see that being the case here. I don't know if I love the 6.5. I mean, Toronto's been trending over the total, and these two teams head-to-head have actually gone over in 4 straight between them. 4 straight meetings, Leafs, Bruins, all of them over the total, 6-4, 5-4, 5-3, 5-3. The final scores in those games. But like I said, I think we could see the over first period. I like lesser on the. I will look maybe at a 5.5 live potentially. I don't know if I'm going to jump in though at a 6.5 pregame, although we have seen 4 straight overs in this series. It is Mentor's trip. That is true for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Mentor's trip for the Leafs. So that is worth noting. So it's people that meant the most to the Leaf players, bringing one person that meant the most to them in their hockey career or their or growing up, whatever the case may be, whether it's a parent, whether it's an uncle, whether it's an aunt, whether it's a instructor, a teacher, you name it. That's what the Mentors trips are. But yeah, the first period over makes sense. A little bit lesser lean to the full game over. I'm Boston team total as well. I mean, I could see them, like we've been going to the well with these team totals against the Leafs. So I probably will go that direction as well. Over 3.5 with the Bruins here in this game. Toronto gave up 5 to Ottawa, 4 to Carolina, 9 in their last 2 games combined. Don't necessarily fully trust Stolarz here either, especially on the road. Plus, another thing you got to keep looking at as far as the Leafs are concerned is look at these shots that they've given up. 44 to Ottawa, 36 to Carolina, 34 to the Islanders, 38 to Minnesota, 33 to Buffalo. I mean, how do you not look at Anthony Stolarz over saves, or if your book gives you an opportunity to bet it, Boston Bruins over team shots on goal? Either way, you could certainly look at that being a situation that's worth a shot. They're just getting absolutely caved in on a nightly basis. This Leafs defense can't get the puck out of their own zone, giving up shots on goal galore. That could end up being another situation for them here. I mean, it's just been constant, them giving up obviously 30 shots on goal of late. So that's probably a good look here as far as, like I said, I'm not big on the saves prop, although I did think Igor Shesterkin yesterday from a saves prop standpoint was probably not a bad option, that Ottawa would just be carrying the play and just caving in the Rangers, and that's exactly what they did, pretty much start to finish. So, 27.5 is the saves prop number here for Stolars. I could see that for sure. As far as that, I mean, it's just the Leafs are just hemorrhaging tons of shots on goal here on a regular basis. So I'm interested in those looks. As far as player props here for this game are concerned, you look at obviously the lineup situation. I like Fraser Minton. He's a former Leaf. I could see him scoring against his old team. Quite honestly, if I remember correctly, he scored against them earlier this season as well. So Fraser Minton, Husnudinov on that top line still with Pasternak. Zacha's been red hot lately. So Pavel Zacha could be a good goal prop option for Boston here in this game tonight. I think for Toronto, Easton Cowan is, I think he's been, you can make a case, the best Leaf forward the last couple of games that we've seen this Toronto team play. I mean that. He's been really solid. And I think Easton Cowan on the top line still with Tavares and Nylander is probably a good option as far as a goal prop for the Leafs tonight. Probably my favorite goal prop for the Leafs. It's just been noticeable and making things happen, setting up his teammates. And he did find the back of the net against Ottawa on Saturday night. So Cowan would be my favorite goal prop for the Leafs here in this matchup. All right, on we go. Colorado, Pittsburgh. We've got Colorado minus 170, road favorites, 6.5 the total. We are going to try to keep a brisk pace with these games since there's so many of them, 15. So we'll just try to go as quickly as we can. It's not easy for me, Mr. Babbling Brook sometimes here I can get, but we'll try anyway to keep this at a brisk pace. I'm going to go back to the well with another Pittsburgh over. I know for the first time in 8 games it stayed under against Carolina, but they looked flat from the very beginning. I don't know whether it was the Winnipeg back and forth game Saturday took a lot of air out of their system, wind out of their sails, air out of the balloon, whatever you want to call it. But Pittsburgh didn't have a lot going for them. It looked like they were just slow and stuck in mud and half asleep for much of that game against Carolina. Not to take anything away from Carolina, who played very well Sunday afternoon against Pittsburgh. But Dan Muse blamed himself, saying he didn't have this team ready to go for that game against Carolina. So they'll definitely be looking for a bounce-back game, a Pittsburgh team that's been pretty good at bouncing back lately. But for me, at least, it's better beware fading the Avalanche in this situation, because if you remember, the Avalanche not too long ago got not just beaten, but beaten like a drum, soundly, borderline embarrassed, honestly, by this Pittsburgh Penguins team on their home ice just 8 days ago, losing 7-2 at the hands of the Pittsburgh Penguins. It was a rough night, really, defensively for Colorado, rough night for their goaltenders. Wedgwood got pulled early. I don't think Mackenzie Blackwood was much better. It was also a weird game, though. They did play poorly, especially defensively. I don't know if I've seen Makar and Taves look as bad as they did in that 7-2 loss to Pittsburgh in Denver just 8 days ago. But a lot of those goals, too, there were some weird puck bounces. Puck luck was clearly on Pittsburgh's side. The seeing eye shots from the point that ended up finding a hole and finding the back of the net right now. So, like I said, it was Pittsburgh deserved to win. Don't get me wrong. They're a better team than Colorado in that 7-2 win, but it seemed like they had a lot of seeing eye shots find its way in. A lot of puck luck, a lot of good bounces went their way as well. No question. So, like I said, Colorado will remember that. That's the point I'm trying to make. When you lose 7-2 at home and you get a chance to play that same team just a week later, you're going to be ready to go. You're going to want to bounce back. You're going to want to make exact some payback, exact some revenge here if you're Colorado. The problem is, though, do you want to lay minus 160 with Colorado on the road where they've been at least a little bit more susceptible? I mean, they're 23-6-5 at home, 23-12 on there. They do have actually a pretty good road record, but it's a big price. They did beat Washington 3-2 in overtime on Sunday afternoon. It was a solid win considering they trailed early and they found a way. So we'll see how this one goes, but I'm going to go back to over 6.5 here. It is still an 8-1 run to the over for the Pittsburgh Penguins in their last 9 games. I will go with over 6.5 pregame. I'll wait for an in-game over 1.5. Wait for that. when you look at Colorado too, I looked at their team total. I don't know, 3.5 Colorado team total. I could see them getting to 4 goals, but the problem is for Colorado, while I'm sure they're going to play better tonight, they know they lost in a brutal and woeful fashion to Pittsburgh 8 days ago. But Pittsburgh's coming off a stinker themselves, and they still have much to play for. In fact, you could argue they have more to play for right now than Colorado. Colorado can kind of just cruise right now into winning the Central Division. Pittsburgh, with the Islanders and the Blue Jackets right on their tail in the Metropolitan Division right now. I mean, they could be overtaken for second place by either of those teams if they keep losing. So it's very important that Pittsburgh, who haven't clinched anything yet, that they try to bounce back here. So I expect both teams. This could be a good first period. That's what I would probably bet pregame, because over 1.5 first period's too pricey. I would bet only the full game, 6.5 to the over pregame. Maybe look at a first period, both teams to score. I could see 1-1 in this opening period. Pittsburgh off a clunker against Carolina. Colorado, the last time they played Pittsburgh in Ball Arena in Denver, we know what happened. They lost 7-2. So, like I said, I think it's a situation where I could see both teams coming out storming early, and we get both teams on the board. You'll get good plus price for a first period, both teams to score. I think I could endorse that here in this game. I'm going to sprinkle on the draw. I didn't initially love the draw in this game. Wasn't initially one of the games I bet the draw in, but Colorado has gone past regulation 2 of the 3. It is East versus West, so neither team's going to care if the other gets points. Pittsburgh's gone past regulation in 5 of their last 9 games going into this one, so I'll take a shot here with this draw in this one as well. As far as props go for this game, oh, by the way, I wanted to shout out this comment here. New guy here, been listening to you guys for a couple weeks. Just subscribe to the Patreon, I think is what you meant. But I know what you meant, Patreon, before the free betcast. You guys, thank you very much. That's so kind. Appreciate it. We work our ass off. At me, Alex, everyone associated with this show. We are the only NHL betting show that's on 7 days a week, every game all season long that we preview. No question. So, like I said, appreciate those kind words. So just to recap, full game over, both teams to score first period, a little bit on that Colorado team total over 3.5 and the draw for me as far as what I'm going to be on here for this matchup. And then as far as goal props are concerned here for Colorado and Pittsburgh, I've talked a lot about the similar players for the Penguins. I mean, Shinikov is like an automatic right now. 2 straight games with a goal for the Penguins. Brock Nelson, I like him in this matchup, plus 210 to find the back of the net. He's also scored in back-to-back games here for this Colorado Avalanche team. What else for Pittsburgh? Mantha is on the second line with Novak and Shinikov. You could give him maybe a look as far as scoring a goal tonight here in this game. But, the main ones here are Nelson and Shinikov as far as goal props tonight that I'm most interested in. One thing of note is, and Jonathan made mention of it, Gabe Landeskog returned against Washington after I believe it was a 7-game absence. Yeah, 7 games he missed. He came back in that victory against Washington, and sure enough, he comes back, they win. There is a difference. He posted the record, I think. But yeah, 37, 4, and 7 with Gabe Landeskog in the lineup, and only 9, 9, and 3 without him. So he is a difference maker here for this Colorado Avalanche team, and the record certainly bears that out. All right, next up, we've got Carolina, Montreal. Carolina minus 140, road favorites. The total here sitting at 6.5 across the board in this matchup. I kind of want to take Montreal here. I think there's value. Home dog. Carolina's another team where they'd like to win the game. It's not necessity. It's not like the be-all, end-all to lose this game, because they're sitting in a pretty cushy spot right now. 96 points, leading the Metro, 10 points clear of Pittsburgh, 11 clear of both the Blue Jackets and the Islanders. Like, you're in a pretty comfortable spot right now if you're the Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah, do you want to get the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference and finish ahead of Buffalo and finish ahead of Tampa Bay? Sure you do. But I don't think it's the be-all, end-all for this group. Playoff success, is kind of what they're most interested in at this point in time. And believe it or not, we're sort of flipping what we're seeing with the goaltenders here right now for these two teams, and that we did have concerns with Freddie Anderson starting, by the way. It will be Freddie Anderson, and this is back-to-back starts for him, which I think speaks to the downturn that we've seen in Brandon Bussey's play post-Olympic break. We've talked about that a lot on this show the last couple of weeks. He just hasn't been on top of things as much as we have seen in the past. Struggled a lot. I think the Olympic break really hurt him because if you look at the way Brandon Bussey performed in net before the Olympic break, he's not that same guy for Carolina post-Olympic break. You know, he's spitting up the puck, leaving a lot of juicy rebounds in front, just not tracking the puck well, a little off the angle on some of the shots that have beaten him cleanly in some of these recent starts. It's just some of the shit we did not see too much from Bussey, of course, in the past. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably Freddie's now because while Bussey's been hit a bit of a dip in his play, I don't want to say he's been great, Freddie Anderson, but we have seen a little bit of an uptick in his play of late for the Hurricanes. So to see Frederik Andersen, like it's going to take Frederik Andersen just shitting the bed down the stretch for him probably at this stage to not be the game one starter in the playoffs for Carolina. Rod Brindamore's been loyal to a fault to this guy. And now that he sees, some cracks starting to emerge in Brandon Bussey, it's just going to give him even more of an opening here to say, you know what, we're going to at least start the playoffs here with Freddie Andersen. So keep that in mind. It will be Jakub Dobeš getting the start here for the Montreal Canadiens tonight in this game. If you remember the last time these two teams played, it was a crazy affair, 7-5, 12 goals between them. It ended up being a crazy game. It was New Year's Day that they met in Carolina. And it was Dobeš. Dobeš was in net for that game, gave up 5 goals, but it was Bussey in net that day for Carolina, and he ended up giving up the 6th spot to the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, the 7th goal was into an empty net. So a lot of goals in that one. It kind of leaned that way here a little bit. I was kind of hoping it was Bussey, though. I think I would have been even liking this total to the over a little bit more had it been him because, like I said, he's been the goalie that's been in a little bit lesser form of late. But I still think we could see goals here. I don't love the price of the first period over. So what I'm going to start doing here is when I don't love, like I'm not laying minus 145 or minus 150 pregame with the first period over. I will bet it live during the betcast tonight. We'll have a betcast tonight. Take advantage of it. You don't have to bet bad prices with some of these, especially some of these first period overs right now when we've got the betcast tonight. So first period over in game or during the betcast tonight. I do like first period, both teams to score here tonight with Carolina, Montreal. I think that is worth a look, and I will bet that 6.5 to the over pregame as well. And this is another draw spot for me. I think so. You look at Carolina, they've been playing suddenly a few tighter games of late as far as games that have gone past regulation. Let me just bring it up. Yeah, 2 of the last 3 of the last 7 for the Canes have gone past regulation. Montreal, we could see certainly this be a game where if it's close or tied in the third period, every point's significant. You make sure you do not screw up at least the 1 point. So the draw, I think, could get there here tonight with Carolina and Montreal. And then as far as the prop market here for the Canes and the Canadiens, Slavkovsky, he scored in back-to-back games for the Montreal Canadiens, plus 220. I don't mind that whatsoever. Nikolai Ehlers has been heating up. I think our guy from my hometown here, Mark Jankowski, might even be worth a look. He's in one of these zones right now where he's started to find pay dirt and put the puck in the net. So, and you can get upwards of plus 700 is what I'm seeing for Mark Jankowski. So that's probably worth a shot here in this one as well. Newhook, even for the Montreal Canadiens, has actually scored in 2 of the last 5 games for them, and you're getting upwards of plus 500. So Alex Newhook, who's actually had a little bit of offensive success here in recent games, he could be worth a player prop look in this game tonight as well for the Montreal Canadiens. All right, Chicago Blackhawks and New York Islanders. We've got the Islanders minus 160, home favorites, 5.5 the total. I laughed my ass off this morning watching this line sit at minus 190 for the Islanders. So 30 cents higher on the Islanders than what we're seeing right now. And then all of a sudden I see confirmations across the board, David Rittich starting in goal tonight for the New York Islanders. And right away, that price started dropping like a stone. And all this money comes pouring in on the Chicago Blackhawks. I just laughed because it's I just laughed simply because of the fact that it's clear there's significant lack of betting market respect right now for David Riddick. For this price to just jump like that, with David Riddick being announced as the starting goaltender for the Islanders tonight instead of Ilya Sorokin, it pretty much tells you that a lot of people have a lot of lack of faith right now in Riddick. And Riddick hasn't been great. Riddick has been giving up 4 goals in a lot of starts. I went back and looked in his starts since, just before the Olympic break. There's only 2 teams he's given up fewer than 4 goals against. I think one was Calgary, and the other was, I'm trying to think, it might have been St. Louis. It was a team that was out of the playoffs. But those are the only 2 teams he's had reasonably decent starts against. Every other team's gotten to it, 4 goals against him. Now, Chicago is a team that's out of the playoffs, so technically could this be a game where he keeps the goals against lower? Possibly. But I think Chicago's got a lot of adrenaline going into the game tonight. They're going to be obviously excited. And the big news, of course, for Chicago is the NHL debut of their former first-round pick, Anton Frondell, who's going to make his NHL debut here tonight in this one. I'm excited to see what he can do because this is a kid that they hope that there's going to be some magic in time with Connor Bedard and with Anton Frondell. Jeff Blashill's not screwing around or wasting any time. He's going to right away put Anton Frondell on that top line with Ryan Green and Connor Bedard here tonight. So looking to see if that magic can happen. Now, he's an 18-year-old kid. We do have to temper some expectations here. And it's his first NHL game. But this is a guy that is used to playing in a man's league, a pro league. He did over there in the Swedish Hockey League with Djurgårdens of the Swedish League. And his numbers in that league were pretty damn solid. All things considered. Over 20 goals, 40-some points for him over there. And keep in mind, this is an 18-year-old kid playing in a men's professional league for the first time. He's not playing junior right now. He's playing in a pro league. All things considered, that's solid production. That's pretty damn good what he was able to do over there, considering it. And Swedish Hockey League is a really good pro league. It's right up there as one of the best pro leagues outside of the NHL in the world right now. So what Frondell was able to do over there was very, very solid in my mind. It's going to have him at least a little bit more ready for this first NHL game. Now, obviously, you've got even better players here at the NHL level, but the fact that he actually played pro hockey, I think, helps him a little bit going into this one. You look at the matchup, too. Soderblom confirmed in net here for the Chicago Blackhawks tonight. I had to bet over 5.5. I know there's some people in the chat I hear saying it's a stone cold under. I don't see it that way. I think we could see goals. I see Chicago is icing a stronger offensive lineup, I think, tonight, especially with Frondell making his debut. And I think for the Islanders, look, they were in this no room, no space, no, airtight, tight checking, physical, intense, playoff-style game against Columbus on Sunday where they emerged with a 1-0 victory. And now I think it's going to loosen up tonight. I'm not going to say it's going to go completely to what we saw Saturday in that Montreal Islanders game with 10 goals, but I think tonight we're going to see more of a loose up-and-down type of game here tonight for the New York Islanders. I mean, that was just a product of, it was 2 big points, divisional game, Jackets, Islanders. You figured it was going to tighten up, especially with the Islanders giving up 7 goals the previous night to Montreal. And the fact Columbus has been stressing defense since Rick Bowness got there. It was just the perfect combination to see that game go under the total Sunday with the Blue Jackets and the Islanders. Now you got a Chicago team that's got Arvid Soderblom in net. His numbers have declined. His numbers have tanked in recent starts. I think the Islander offense can have success here tonight. I certainly wouldn't rule out Chicago being able to put a couple of goals on the board here tonight against David Riddick either, with his increased struggles of late. So I was able to pick off 5.5 here at -135 with this total. And it is still out there at DraftKings, over 5.5, -135. So I'm on that. This is another draw for me. I mean, this is not going to be an easy game for the Islanders. I've seen enough Islanders hockey going back to when Wade Dublowitz, you remember Wade Dublowitz years ago, won a shootout for them to get them in the playoffs. They don't do shit easily. Okay, they don't win games at this time of year very easily. At least that's been what I've come to know them to do, to be like. Nothing comes easily for this team. And I think Chicago gives them a tough game tonight. I'm not going to take Chicago to win, but I think the draw is live. You got teams trending heavily to the draw lately. The Islanders only 2 of their last 8 games have gone past regulation, but the games that have not, 4 of their last 6 games, all of which have not gone past regulation, but 4 of the last 6 games have been 1-goal games. So they've been just, flirting with more overtime, more shootout games, the Islanders of late. And then you look at Chicago, they've been a draw machine. This team is a remarkable 6 of their last 10 games having gone past regulation, the Chicago Blackhawks. So I think this is definitely a spot for the draw, worth a shot, given those numbers I just pointed out. And like I said, I am on the over. 2 of the last 3 meetings have gone over the total. We did have a 5-4 game with these teams last year, the last time they played here in Belmont, in Long Island. So, like I said, over 5.5. This is not an over. If it's Knight and Sorokin, there's no chance I'm betting over in this game. None. 0. This is about, I think, that loosens up for the Islanders after a stodgy 1-0 game the other night, and this is 2 goalies I don't trust at this point in time. Not Sorokin, Soderblom for Chicago, and Riddick for the New York Islanders. So, yeah, definitely. I keep saying Belmont, New York. I'm thinking of the Elmont, New York. Thank you. Elmont, New York here for the where the Islanders are. As far as, this game, so over 5.5 in the draw are the primary looks for me. As far as goal props here, I mean, I'll sprinkle on, I'll get in on the Frondell madness, as as Addison calls it in the chat. I'll take him to score here in his NHL debut, at least plus 150 to get a point, or it's actually gone down to plus 120 in a lot of spots. But I'll go that route. Nick Lardis is one I like. He scored last game again for Chicago. He's actually scored against this New York Islanders team in the past as well. So keep that in mind. Nick Lardis for Chicago. And I'm not just betting him because he played for the Hamilton Bulldogs at this point in time. All right. So as far as that goes, I'm going to see what is happening here with Matt as far as his audio, but there we go. And see, live show, folks. All right, there we go. All right, we'll just find out if he's able to reconnect. All right, as far as goal props, like I said, Nick Lardis for the Blackhawks, along with Frondell. I'm going to get involved in Frondell props here tonight. And then as for the New York Islanders, I'm going to go back to Emil Heineman, man. This and Lee is. It looks like Lee Horvat Heineman could be your top line tonight. If that's the case, Heineman and Lee, I'm interested in. I know Alex likes Simon Holmstrom. He sent along his card, and I'll post it on Patreon for the Patreon members. Patreon.com/IceGuys. Check the Patreon page. We'll have Alex's card posted later this afternoon. He likes Simon Holmstrom to find the back of the net here for the Islanders in this game tonight. So Simon Holmstrom, you can get in that plus 400 range as well. And if you look at Holmstrom, he has scored in 2 of the last 5. He's also scored against Chicago in the past. That is worth noting. So Simon Holmstrom here for the Islanders. I think that might be worth a look. All right, Seattle, Florida. We've got Florida minus 135 home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. 5.5 in some spots, 6 in others. So make sure you shop around as far as this total is concerned. It's becoming desperate times for the Seattle Kraken. I mean, they're only 4 points out of that second wild card, but the way Nashville's playing, and the way, Utah keeps finding ways to put points on the board. Seattle's got to put some wins on the board now because they keep going in this trajectory they're on right now. It's going to get even more difficult. Right now, they're still only 4 points back in Nashville, and they do have a game in hand on the Predators, but you got to start putting wins on the board. Now, I will say to Seattle's defense here, it's been, not the easiest schedule they've played lately. They played Tampa. They played Nashville on the road, and Nashville's playing well. They played Columbus, one of the hottest teams in the NHL, for the last 2 months since Rick Bowness got there. during this 3-game losing streak. It's not really a bad loss in the mix. This would be a bad loss because Florida not only enters this game off a Western road trip, 4-game road trip. They only went 1-3. The only victory was against Edmonton. They lost the other 3 games of that road trip. They are a beaten up, bludgeoned, decimated, injury-riddled mess, the rest of this Florida team right now. And we started to sense it yesterday at practice when all of a sudden you're hearing Paul Maurice talking about all these different players that are out day to day, that are out week to week, that are going to be out indefinitely, guys that are going to maybe need surgery. And it is a laundry list right now for the Florida Panthers. You're talking about 2 starting defensemen in Uvis Balinskis, Nico Mikkola, that are going to be out for this game. Anton Lundell, who's played very well for them this season, especially of late, he's out. Sam Reinhart, he's out. Mackie Samoskevich, he's out. Of course, Marchand has been out for a while. He's still out. Barkov all season. You're not seeing him again. AJ Greer, who got handed that, I think, pretty weak suspension. I would have given him more than that, but he's out due to the suspension for that hit on Zary, Connor Zary of the Calgary Flames during that road trip. So this is a Florida team that is just a beaten up mess right now. Seattle, man, you know how much they fucking pissed me off, this team. I bet overs in their games, it stays under. I bet on them, they lose. I bet against them, they win. That's happened a handful of times this season for me with Seattle. They've been one of the more frustrating betting endeavors for me as far as a single NHL team this season. But like I said, I think Florida's just, a skeleton crew, a skeleton roster right now with all the depletion going on. Like, I'm looking at their top 2 lines tonight, Florida. You're looking at Verhaeghe, Bennett, and Tkachuk. Luostarinen, Rodriguez, and Boquist, your second line. And then it really gets quite thin after that. Reinhart, Nosek, and Hinostroza on your third line. Nolan Foote, Luke Cunnin, and Noah Gregor on your fourth line. So that's an issue right now. And then after Forsling and Ekblad, and you do have Kulikov, and Seth Jones has come back recently, so that does help a little bit with Balinskis and Mikkola out. But Donovan Sabrango and Michael Benning is your third pair. So there's some thin it's just a thin group right now. Seattle's got to take advantage of this if they want to make the playoffs. I will take a shot with Seattle here, plus 115. I'll also go with Seattle first goal, first period, and first period money line in this game. Jump on Florida early. You're saying the right things after losing to Columbus 5-2 on Saturday. And that's another thing, too. They've been off for 2 days. Haven't played since that loss to Columbus on Saturday. Practice time. They got a practice in on this road trip yesterday prior to this game. Come out ready. Come out storming. Take advantage of this depleted team. Get on the board early. Play with a lead for a change. Seattle's been playing from behind a lot too much lately. So Seattle first goal, first period at a pretty nice plus price. Seattle first period money line. Seattle full game money line. And I'm going to go with the over here at 5.5. If you can find 5.5, I think the over is worth a look here. I think Seattle's going to get their offense going. I think Florida's going to be vulnerable defensively. We know Bobrovsky, who's in net, has not had a great season by his standards. Joey Decord is confirmed in net for the Kraken. By the way, there is still no Jared McCann. It's not all injury news on the Florida side. Jared McCann is out for Seattle, so they will, and Jaden Schwartz as well, and Ryan Winterton. So they do have a couple of injuries, but still, overall, they are a healthier group than Florida for sure. So we'll go with Seattle first period, first goal, first period money line, full game money line, a little bit on over 5.5 here. And then as far as a goal props here for this Kraken and Panthers game, Capo Caco starting to heat up. Vince Dunn even has started to chip in of some, not just points, goals for the Kraken of late. Might be someone worth a look there in this game. Bobby McMahon, we'll go back to the well one more time with Bobby McMahon here, still on the top line right now with Matty Beniers and Jordan Eberle for this Seattle Kraken team. The price is still pretty solid for him, given his spot in the lineup, plus 295 you can find at DraftKings. So that's definitely something I think that's worth a look. So those are a couple of the props. I think for Florida, if you're going to look for Panthers that have some value, it probably starts with Rodriguez, centering the second line, Boquist and Lusterinen, Kuhlman-Lusterinen. I think that line is probably a little undervalued in the prop market behind Verhaeghe, Bennett, and Kachuk. So that could be something to look at here in this one. All right, Ottawa, Detroit. Goes without saying, this is a playoff game in March. Very much looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. Detroit minus 130, home favorites, 6 the total. Ottawa won the game but lost in some ways as well last night against the New York Rangers. Thomas Chabot out indefinitely, and that was a pretty reckless cross-check and slash he took from JT Miller on that play. I wouldn't be too happy about that if I'm the Senators. I'd circle that and say the next time, it was too important. The points were too important. You can't look for retribution last night, but certainly the next time you play the Rangers and JT Miller, you could maybe look at, a little response for that. That was a little bit, reckless is the word here for JT Miller to do that with Thomas Chabot last night. But it's not just Chabot, and it's not just Lassie Thompson, who was in the lineup last night because they were already without Dennis Gilbert, still without Jake Sanderson, although Sanderson's close to a return. Sens fans were hoping like hell maybe he'd be able to play tonight with this just massive amount of cluster injuries on the blue line, but that's not going to be the case. He is still out and won't play tonight, Jake Sanderson. So it's Thomas Chabot, it's Dennis Gilbert, it's Jake Sanderson, it's Lassie Thompson, and it's Nick Jensen. Nick Jensen, of course, has missed the last several games. He's on IR. So you're talking about 5 defensemen. 5D are missing here tonight for the Ottawa Senators. And wrong time for that to be the case with them, with this huge matchup against Detroit, trailing them by 1 point for that last wild card spot. So tonight it's going to be a Tyler Clevin, Artem Zub, Jordan Spence. Those are the 3 guys that are the regular, and Nick Montemapalo as well. But they called up Jorian Donovan and Carter Yakimchuk here from Belleville to fill the void here as far as the defense for tonight's game. So Jorian Donovan and Carter Yakimchuk are the new faces called up from Belleville. And from what I've read, Belleville's got injuries on the blue line too. So this could be going way down the depth chart. These could be guys they wouldn't have called up if they had healthier bodies both at the parent club and the minor league club, the farm team, going into this game tonight. So like I said, it's concerning what we're seeing here right now with the Ottawa Senators. No question about that as far as the injuries going into this game. One note, too, I want to make about Jorian Donovan is former NHLer Sean Donovan is actually his father. So there is a lineage there with former NHLer Sean Donovan, who's the dad of Jorian. But, like I said, this Ottawa team on a back-to-back after the Ranger game last night. If you're Detroit, I could only look at the Red Wings here, and I'm probably gonna take them for a small bet here, minus 130. But there's some semblance of the Red Wings just gagging away playoff opportunities in the past that kind of still resonate here in my mind. Is this team ready to respond to the pressure in the right way? Because we know they have not responded to the pressure of making the playoffs the last couple of years. And now we're seeing them again struggling down the stretch when the games matter most. However, you can't ask for a better setup. You've got Ottawa on a back-to-back, Ottawa with just ravaged and depleted beyond belief on the back end. You're rested beyond belief. You have not played since Saturday when you lost 4-2 to the Bruins. And to Detroit's credit, they played well in that game, 44-26 were the shots. Let's not kid ourselves. They outplayed the Bruins. That was a Jeremy Swayman show, taking 2 points away from the Detroit Red Wings. So they probably deserved to win that game. They played a solid game. They just got goalied a little bit by Jeremy Swayman. Now, Detroit did win 2 games in a row before that, beating Calgary and Montreal before that setback against Boston. But you've been off since Saturday, no travel. You've been able to practice. You've just been waiting there for this Ottawa team that's rolling in now on a back-to-back with all these injuries on the blue line. You can't ask for this to be a better situation for Detroit to take advantage of it. But can they take advantage of it? Will they take advantage of it? Knowing that playoff pressure has gotten to them before. But for me, I can only look Detroit here, minus 130. I mean, you can't ask for a better setup. You really can't. I'm probably going to sprinkle on them early or pregame. We got the bet cast tonight. Let's see if they come out with that, we got to get this shit done mentality and jump on this Ottawa team early. If they do that, then maybe it's going to give me a little bit more confidence to add to this position. But, right now it's just you couldn't ask for this to set up any better for the Detroit Red Wings. And Detroit has played Ottawa well. They've won 4 of the last 6 meetings and 3 straight between these two teams. So I will take a small shot with Detroit here, minus 130 pregame. I am on the draw, too. Got to bet the draw. There's 2 straight games this year, head-to-head, have gone past regulation. Each of the last 2, one in Detroit, one in Ottawa. Both went to overtime. That as much as these two teams would want to not allow the other team to get a point, the draw still, in my opinion, could end up being a look here. I'm torn on the total here because I think it's going to be played with that tight checking mentality. But is Ottawa's defense capable of keeping it a tight checking game? Like, you've got such change on the back end, players that are up here and situations they're not accustomed to it. A big pressure game like this, sometimes you just try to do too much. Can you play a simple game on the road with all these injuries on the blue line? Because I think it's going to be played at a low, slow paced and defensive-minded type of game with such high stakes here with these teams trying to make the playoffs. But I'm a little bit worried about whether the inexperience on the blue line maybe leads to mistakes, and those mistakes lead to goals. So it's very interesting to see how you think about how this game goes from a total standpoint. As far as props for this game, because if I bet the total, basically it'll be a live look during the betcast tonight. I'm going back to the well. Warren Fogle, the Fogue Daddy. We had a bargain bin special last night with him. He's plus 500 again to score tonight. 5 of the last 10 games, he's scored. 4 of the last 5 games, he's scored. 3 straight games he's scored for Ottawa. Pinto starting to heat up as well for Ottawa. Those are a couple Sens looks here as far as goal props tonight, especially Warren Fogle. That's the one I like the most as far as Ottawa's concerned. Cousins and Gregg have been playing well, so you can make a case for them here as well. I think for Detroit, I see Emmett Finney potentially on the top line, and Dylan Larkin, by the way, who has been close to a return. They've been kind of hinting that this could be the night. He is a game-time decision for Detroit. So the Red Wings at least have a chance that after a 7-game absence, that they might have their captain, Dylan Larkin, back in the lineup tonight here for this one. But yeah, I mean, Emmett Finney on the top line, I think there's definitely some value. He might be with, assuming Larkin plays, will be with Raymond here in this one. Red Wings team total, shots on goal, I could see that. Yep. Which means that or the saves prop here for Linus Ullmark, who will start, of course, on a back-to-back after it was James Reimer last night for Ottawa. They saved Ullmark here for this game. So Ullmark over saves, Detroit over shots on goal. Yeah, Jonathan, I totally agree. I co-sign that. No argument whatsoever. This is probably a game where Detroit should should control the flow at least against, because one thing you'll note that if you watched that Sens Rangers game last night, that once those injuries started to happen on the blue line, that's when the Rangers were starting to play more in the offensive zone last night. Like, once those injuries happened on the blue line, the Rangers were all of a sudden starting to forecheck better. And Ottawa was playing at least a little bit more in their own zone after Shabbat went down and after Lassie Thompson went down last night. So that's an important point to make. That wasn't that same. They weren't just caving. They were caving in the Rangers constantly. The Rangers never had the puck. And then all of a sudden Shabbat goes down and Lassie Thompson goes down on the blue line, and suddenly the New York Rangers are able to spend a little bit more time in the offensive zone from that point on in the game last night. All right, Columbus and Philadelphia. We've got Columbus minus 135, road favorites, 5.5, 6 the total here in this game. I don't utter, I should say, the U word very often, but this does feel like a good under game. Jackets, with Rick Bowness, they've been trying to tighten things up. They've come off a game very similar to this one, playing a team that's battling for the playoffs, much like you, with the Islander game, and it was 1-0. Jet Greaves will start once again for Columbus here tonight in this big game, and of course, Dan Vladar for Philadelphia. Both goalies have been very solid lately, so I think goals could be at a premium here tonight in this game. I think this is a little bit of a trickier spot, though, for Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia, to their credit, kudos to them and kudos to Rick Tocchet. 3-0 in the California road swing. Not easy to do, but they were able to do it with wins against Anaheim, LA, and San Jose on the road. And now they come back home following that perfect 3-0 road trip. You know that's not easy. That first game home after a successful, in this case, perfect road trip through California. 4 of their last 5 they've won as well, this Philadelphia team. So I got to give them their due. They're playing some solid hockey. There's a reason now they're back in the hunt again with this nice road trip they had. Only 5 points back of the New York Islanders and the Columbus Blue Jackets in the Metro. But I still think it's a bit of a challenging spot here for Philly. First game home off the road. I like Columbus in a bounce-back spot. I think this team has only lost, if I'm not mistaken, under Rick Bowness, they've only lost 2 games in a row once, maybe twice. Yeah, twice. I'm just seeing it now. Yeah, twice they've lost 2 in a row. But for the most part, off a loss under Bowness, it's been pretty good as far as the response from this team. I'd expect better from them. I think they could jump on the Flyers a little bit early, first game back, first period of action back home after the road trip. So the Columbus first goal, first period. I like that look a little bit here, split up with Jackets first period money line. And then I did take Columbus minus 130 is what I got. It hasn't changed much, 5 cents higher right now, minus 135. But I do like Columbus. I still think Columbus the better team as well. And they've owned Philadelphia. They have played the Flyers very well. They've won 4 straight head-to-head meetings over the Philadelphia Flyers, including each of the last 2 earlier this year. So we'll do the Jackets first goal, first period money line split, along with the Columbus full game money line. And I'm going to look at this draw as well. You look at head-to-head. 3 of the last 5 have gone past regulation. Philadelphia has just been this insane draw team the last 10 games. 6 of the last 10 have gone past regulation. 4 of the last 5 for the Flyers have gone past regulation as well. So it's another one where the draw indicators are just too strong not to take the draw here in this one. As far as props, Jackets and Flyers, we've got Noah Cates, who scored in 3 straight games for this Flyers team. I think it's worth a look again, plus 440. 3 of the last 5, 3 straight with a goal. Sanheim from the blue line has actually scored in back-to-back games for this Flyers team as well. On the Columbus side of the equation, they obviously come off getting shut out by the Islanders on Sunday. Mason Marchment on the top line with Fantilli and Marchenko. I like the value there. Kent Johnson and Connor Garland playing with Monahan could be worth a look. If you want to go down to the lineup even further, Coyle and Matthew Olivier, not the worst options either. If you actually look at some head-to-head numbers, Coyle's had success against this Flyers team. That's worth pointing out. So Coyle and maybe even Olivier and could be, like I said, worth a shot here as far as Columbus goal props tonight. All right, Minnesota, Tampa Bay. We've got Tampa Bay minus 170, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. This is your TNT game, by the way, for this Tuesday night, Wild and Lightning. A pretty good game, all things considered. This is interesting because you got Tampa Bay off the road trip. You usually want to fade a team in that spot. But you also have them coming back home off a 4-3 loss to Calgary. And you have Tampa Bay that just played Minnesota earlier this month in Minnesota and lost 5-1, played pretty poorly in that game. So there's some elements that say, yeah, you want to fade Tampa off the road. But Tampa Bay may come to play here off a loss and losing to this Wild team earlier this month. I still think it could be tough early to get their legs under them. So I grabbed a little Minnesota first goal, first period here in this one. That's it, though. I mean, it's just the first goal, first period look. I'm not all that excited about trusting Minnesota here for the full game. Although that being said, they are going to get a little bit healthier tonight with the return of both Joel Eriksson-Ek and Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov. Both of them will be returning here tonight for the Wild in this game. So that's something to be excited about if you're a Wild fan. What's trouble in you, Gus? Philip Gustafson will be in net for Minnesota tonight. We do expect Vasilevsky for Tampa Bay for this one. It looks like, too, on the blue line, Victor Hedman remaining on the injury list day to day. It was an illness that kept him out against both Calgary and Edmonton. He missed both games of that Alberta swing portion of the road trip. And as of now, it doesn't look like he's going to possibly not return here tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I will take Minnesota first goal, first period. After that, we'll see. I will grab a live over 5.5. I'm not going to bet over yet pregame. I'm going to take a live over during the betcast at 5.5. That's the number I'm kind of looking for because we've seen a lot of sixes between these two teams. If you look at the last 7 head-to-head meetings, only one has fallen below 6 goals. 5 of the 6 have gotten to at least 6 goals. So that's why I'm kind of more, and actually 7 of the last 8 meetings, Wild versus Lightning, have gone to 6 goals. So that's why, rather than the 6 and the 6.5 that we're seeing right now, I'm going to wait for a 5.5 as far as the over and then get in on it. Not to mention Minnesota overs have cooled right off of late. That is something worth mentioning. Minnesota just 6, 2, 3. Let me count it up here. It's 6, 1, and 1 to the under in their last 8 games, the Wild. So even more reason why, for me at least, don't have to bet it pregame at the 6 and the 6.5. We can wait, see if we can find 5.5 live, especially during our betcast tonight, since we've got that going on. As far as props here for this one, Bobby Brink's actually fit in nicely. He scored a couple of times. Now, he's also missed some games for Minnesota since that trade when they got him from Philly. But when he's been in the lineup, he's been producing for the Minnesota Wild. So, yeah, Bobby Brink, I agree. It's a good prop as well. Tarasenko. Darren Radish could be worth a look, too, because especially if Hedman's out, we always talk about how Darren Radish is going to take a lot more of the ice time, power play opportunities as well. And deservedly so. He's had an outstanding season. I'm going to go back to the well with Anthony Cirelli. We had a bargain bin winner with him on the road trip for Tampa Bay. He's still with Kucherov and Hagel on the top line. And when you factor in, that he has found the back of the net 3 of the last 5 games for the Lightning, that you can get still bargain bin caliber price for Cirelli centering the top line, plus 310. That's a good price in my mind, no question. So Cirelli at that price is worth a shot. Gage Gonsalves is with Gensel and with Point. It looks like for Tampa Bay on the second line as well. That price is pretty good too on Gage Gonsalves, plus 525 for someone on the second line. So those are some of the props there for me when it comes to this. Good game, really good game. Good game for a TNT for the national audience tonight, Minnesota and Tampa Bay. All right, Vegas and Winnipeg. We've got Vegas minus 130, road favorites, 6 the total here in this one. I like these momentum angles, right? I often talk about it, that you've got Vegas, couldn't buy a win, couldn't buy a goal, nothing's going right. It's a combination of not playing well. They didn't get any puck luck either. It's not like they didn't have chances. It's not like they didn't outshoot and outplay teams during that losing streak that they were on. But it was a combination of those factors. They probably could have played better. They probably could have been a little more clinical, a little more surgical offensively with their execution, finishing off their chances. But at the same point in time, the Nashville game in particular, he had 40 shots on goal. It's not like he didn't have opportunities. It's not like he didn't generate anything. The puck just was not going in. And they lost that game 4-1. And on the flip side, whether it's Aiden Hiller or Kira Schmid, those goalies have got to step up. You can't be doubled. You can't double the opponent in shots and see the opponent give up 4 goals. That's not good enough. So both of those guys have to step up. Now, credit to Aiden Hill, because prior to the Utah game where he got pulled, he had been playing a little bit better. And then, of course, he was in net for the big win Sunday night against the Dallas Stars. Now, he only faced 15 shots. So it was a real good defensive game from Vegas. And that's something we've noted now in these back-to-back games. It didn't result in a win against Nashville, but it did result in a losing streak snapping 3-2 win against Dallas on Sunday. And that is the fact that they have significantly carried play. And they've significantly, in the last 3 games, in fact, really started to, carry the play more, shut it down defensively, don't give up as many grade A chances, expected goals going down, shots and chances against going down. I mean, that's 3 straight games for the Vegas Golden Knights where they've allowed 20 or fewer shots on goal. In theory, that is a recipe conceptually for success at this time of year, and especially in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So if you can maintain that blueprint defensively, and you can start to figure out how to get some offense going which hasn't been the case for Vegas, you could start to turn things around here a little bit. So, I mean, from a pure momentum standpoint, this is a classic Ian Cameron spot where normally I would bet Vegas in this situation. Team that had been struggling, but they finally get a win. They got a little more pep in their step now going to the rink here tonight against the Winnipeg Jets, and can maybe build on that win against Dallas and let the momentum roll into a victory here. So I definitely lean Vegas. But I want to see a little bit more. I want to see how they start here. And Winnipeg is one of these teams that just every friggin', it's like the old saying, just when I'm out, they pull me back in. You know, just when we think Winnipeg's done and they just find a way to win, and they find a way to get a point against Pittsburgh on Saturday. And then they find a way, of course, to it wasn't pretty, but they do get past the New York Rangers 3-2 in a shootout on Sunday. And now here they are, still only 5 points back of the Nashville Predators for the second wild card spot. So this is a huge game for Winnipeg. You know, so I expect, you know, if there's still belief in the Jets' room that they can make the playoffs, then you got to have a hell of an effort here if you're the Winnipeg Jets, with this being a 5-point gap between you and the last spot. So I expect a good effort from Winnipeg. So for that, and they're at home, for that reason, I'm not taking Vegas pregame, although I do think it wouldn't be shocked if they win. So it's a lean Vegas. I am on this draw, though. That is the one pregame bet here for me, is this draw. 2 of the last 3 have gone past regulation with the Jets and the Golden Knights, and Winnipeg's in one of these spells right now. I've talked about it with Chicago and Philadelphia and all these other teams where it's just been draw city lately. Winnipeg, 3 of the last 4 games for the Jets have gone past regulation. So I think the draw is certainly a worthy bet here in this one. Goal props for this Golden Knights and Jets game. Close shave Barbashev. He is still on the top line for Vegas, and he did score against Dallas in the victory. He's streaky, just like the rest of the team offensively. Maybe that gets him going a little bit. So, and he's still with Eichel and Stone, and pretty good price in the plus 350 range for him to score for the Golden Knights tonight. Velarde, you know, who has been pretty good lately for the Vegas for the Winnipeg Jets. Adam Lowry, I have a feeling he might score. He scored against the Rangers on Sunday, and he has a track record of finding the back of the net in the past against the Vegas Golden Knights. The other one to consider is maybe Iafallo for the Jets here, because he's currently still slotted with Connor and with Scheifele here on the top line. And Mark Stone, 5 goals in 9 games against Connor Hellebuck, says Jonathan. So if you want to look in that direction, you can. He certainly had success against him in the past. And it is Adin Hill and Connor Hellebuck confirmed as your goaltenders, which isn't a big surprise here in this game with Vegas and Winnipeg. All right, next up, Washington, St. Louis. We've got St. Louis minus 115, home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this one. Let me just see what the matchup is here. Yeah, that's what I thought. That it might be Charlie Lindgren. Yeah. I'm seeing projected Charlie Lindgren. I see if I can get that confirmed. It is Joel Hofer for St. Louis, and we've talked about how Hofer's been pretty good much of the season for the St. Louis Blues, but I think it is going to be Lindgren. It is likely Lindgren, yes. Daily Face-Off has confirmed that, or that it's likely Lindgren, and that's as I was initially, I was looking at Washington here. I thought this price looks pretty cheap here on Washington for a team that's, you know, pushing for the playoffs. St. Louis is coming off a road trip, so it's not exactly a bet on spot for the Blues necessarily, coming off the road where they were out west and against Winnipeg, Calgary, and Vancouver. Cheap price with Washington, but I don't know if I can do it with Lindgren. Lindgren's been a little bit spotty of late in between the pipes here for the Washington Capitals. You know, what's funny about this series is we've seen 3 straight games go over. I guess I'd be a little more interested in the over now, but I'm still probably not going to touch the over, because the one thing before we just knee-jerk look at the situation here in net for Washington, that Charlie Lindgren's going to play instead of Logan Thompson, who's been excellent. Washington's been playing a good defensive game. So you leave the door open that even with Charlie Lindgren in net tonight, you're on the road. You want to play good in front of this goalie, give him some confidence, not give up a whole lot. And Washington's been playing a dead nuts under style of hockey. Dead nuts under style of hockey. 8-2 to the under in their last 10 games, 6 straight unders entering tonight. So, yeah, that's going to take me off my initial, stance toward looking at over just automatically because Lindgren's in net. They could play a good enough game defensively for this guy that we could still see it be a struggle here tonight for the St. Louis Blues to find the back of the net. Not to mention, I haven't been impressed with the Blues offensively lately, and the Blues have gone under in 5 straight games, 9-1 to the under for St. Louis entering tonight. So you combine these two teams over the last 10 games for each of them, and you're talking about two teams that are combined 17-2 to the under in their last. They're 17-3 to the under in their last 20 games. So that's just going to be a pass for me. Like I said, huge card. There's got to be one game on the board where pregame I don't have anything on it. This is that game. No total, no side, no draw bet either for me in this one. We're going to wait and see how it goes when it's all said and done. But, yeah, this one I'm definitely staying off pregame as far as side or total. Prop-wise for this game, there are a couple that do stand out for me here in this head-to-head battle. Suter for the Blues. He scored in the last game of the road trip. You're getting a pretty good price, plus 550 for him to find the back of the net. We always talk about Holloway, Thomas, Snuggerud. That top line together is always a threat. I wouldn't object to those three for the Blues. And then for the Capitals, you've got Protas. You've got, obviously, Ryan Leonard has been picking it up of late. Beauvillier's on the top line with Strome and Ovechkin, so there is value on Beauvillier. Doesn't mean he's going to score, and he can be frustrating at times, but that is definitely something to consider. Philip Broberg, defenseman for the Blues, Jonathan saying 2 goals in 2 games on 2 shots versus Charlie Lindgren. So you talk about 100% shooting percentage against Charlie Lindgren. Broberg's got it for St. Louis. So plus 825 at some spots for him to find the back of the net. That might be worth a couple of bucks just based on that insane shooting percentage. All right, we got New Jersey, Dallas next up. Dallas minus 160 home favorites, 5.5, 6 the total in this game. I think it's a slam dunk over. This is one of my favorite overs on the board. I'm being a little more cautious, being a little bit more picky and choosy, if you will, with my overs here down the stretch, because we're seeing games, especially with playoff teams or teams battling for the playoffs, tighten up a little bit, be a little bit more lower scoring. This game, I expect goals, though. This New Jersey team has just been playing that kind of fire wagon, trade chances style of hockey of late. Their offense has been in pretty solid form. They've been trending to the over, 6-3-1 to the over in their last 10 games. And the only unders in the last 10 games for this New Jersey team, St. Louis, they've been an under machine of late, was one of the games. 3-0 shutout loss to Detroit. Detroit's been trying to play a little bit more tighter, and Gibson's been good. So not shocking to see that game stay under. And then the other under was their last game. They lost 2-1 against Washington. Well, Washington's been dragging everybody down to lower scoring, low event, tight hockey of late. So those are the only 3 unders for New Jersey in their last 10 games. And St. Louis, under trender lately, was one of those 3 unders. Detroit, been good with Gibson and net. And, of course, Washington's been a huge under team lately. So those are the unders for New Jersey. Every other game's gone over the total. And I think tonight we get more of an up-and-down affair. And if I'm Dallas, I'm looking to kickstart my offense. That's where the focus is, because you lost back-to-back over the weekend against Minnesota and Vegas, and you only scored 1 goal against Minnesota. You only scored 2 goals and only mustered 15 shots on goal against Vegas. So you got to get your offense going here if you're Dallas. This is the team I think they get well offensively against here tonight. Whether it's Allen, whether it's Markstrom in net, doesn't really matter to me for New Jersey. I think Dallas gets their offense going tonight. Jake Ottinger is confirmed in net for Dallas. Give me the over 5.5 here, minus 125 is the best price with that. Probably we'll look at Dallas team total over as well here in this game. Rather than lay the minus 170 price that's out there, you can get Dallas team total over 3.5 at plus 115 in that range. So I like that as well. But the over 5.5, I think Dallas gets 3-4 goals minimum. New Jersey's going to chip in a couple, because New Jersey, that's what they do. They're capable of scoring right now. Jack Hughes has been great since the Olympic break. Bratt started to score. Connor Browns of the world and Gritschuk, some of these other guys have been stepping up for the Devils as well. So I think they'll chip in some offense. They only scored 1 against Washington, but Logan Thompson's been out of this world lately, and he was great in that game. Other than that, they put up 6 against the Rangers, 6 against the Kings, 4 against Boston, 4 against Calgary, 6 against the Rangers, 4 against Toronto, 5 against Florida. A lot of those are bad teams, but I think against Dallas, they'll chip in. They'll chip in a little offense here, New Jersey tonight as well. As far as goal props here for this game, Devils and Stars, let me see here. Jesper Bratt, I was talking about him. Yeah, 3 straight games with a goal for New Jersey. Streaky, finally getting it going. 3 of the last 5 and 3 straight. He scored a goal. Wyatt Johnston, Jamie Benn, Sam Steele. A lot of the familiar cast of characters I'd target here for Dallas. As far as goal props, Maverick Bourque on the top line with Johnston and Robertson too. Could be worth a look as well. So, like I said, those are the main goal props here. Brown and Gritschuk for New Jersey are the other players on the Devils side that I'd probably consider here as far as goal props in this one. Meyer has 4 goals against Jake Ottinger in 6 games, says Jonathan. So if you're looking for someone that's had success against the particular goalie, you can go that route as well. All right, big one now next up. One of many big ones, obviously, tonight. San Jose Sharks, Nashville Predators. Nashville minus 140, home favorites. The total here sitting at, looks like for the most part now we're seeing 6.5 across the board. There were some 6s earlier, but pretty much 6.5s now across the board. I love this potential situation. San Jose's struggling. Let's not kid ourselves. They haven't been playing well. They're struggling. But I think getting on the road could be a good thing for this team. Get on the road, come together as a group, and I expect them to play really well tonight. And I think they could be live to win this game. But I didn't bet San Jose. And I didn't bet San Jose for one very specific and one very good reason. Nashville's just owned this team. And I am not betting against or into a 13-game win streak in the series for the Nashville Predators over the San Jose Sharks. I just can't do that. They have just, for some reason or other, 13 straight victories for the Nashville Predators over the San Jose Sharks. Otherwise, I'd be very interested in this San Jose price as a live dog here. Getting on the road could be a good thing for this team. But like I said, 13 straight wins for Nashville. And Nashville is playing good. Let's give them credit. They've won 4 in a row. Winnipeg, Seattle, Vegas, Chicago. 4 straight wins to get themselves into this second wild card spot currently in the Western Conference. So, yeah, I'm off it. A lot of overs recently, 3-1 to the over in the last 4 meetings. We've had some crazy games, 6-5, 7-5, 8-2, crazy big final scores, lots of goals. I'm not rushing to bet the over tonight, though. San Jose hasn't been scoring lately. They've also been trending under. We got the Sharks now at 4-2 to the under in their last 6 games. Nashville's been kind of going under lately as well. 4 of their last 5 games have gone under the total. With such big playoff stakes between these teams tonight, you could see it tighten up. So over series history says over. The importance of the 2 points and the playoff style game we might see tonight between these two teams where it tightens up with such a big 2 points on the line kind of indicates otherwise. So I'm kind of conflicted with the total here in this game. I will take the draw, though. I will take the draw. Absolutely. I think this is a potential draw spot. Nashville, 3 of their last 6 games have gone past regulation. And there's been other games during this stretch where they've had chances for their games to go past regulation. So the draw is really the only pregame bet that I'm looking at here in this game. It's a good bet cast game. We're going to be able to see how San Jose starts out. If they're pressuring Nashville early, maybe I jump on them for first. I want to see how they start, though, because my initial thought was San Jose first goal, first period. I want to make sure they start with the right, mindset. They're on the front foot. They're not letting the losses and the frustrating homestand bother them, and the losses to the Sabres and the Flyers, to end that homestand. They come out with purpose. I want to see that first before assuming, that's going to happen right now. As far as goal props are concerned here for this big game here, San Jose and Nashville, obviously Stamkos has been red hot. Forsberg's starting to get it going, of course, for the Predators here as well of late. Evangelista, there's probably a little value with him. Matthew Wood, I've talked about Wood is good for Nashville. Probably some value with his props. Look, for San Jose, it's been tough sledding. The offense has really cooled off, but Weber's with Celebrini and Smith tonight on the top line. Now I'm hearing it could be Igor Chernyshov, because Chernyshov, and he is going to play following the 4-game absence, and I see him slotted with Celebrini and Will Smith. So Igor Chernyshov not only back, but Igor Chernyshov with Macklin, Celebrini, and Will Smith on that top line, which means there's great value for his goal prop tonight. Really, really good value with his goal prop tonight. Igor Chernyshov plus 425, 100%. You cannot turn that down. Plus 425 when he's going to play with Macklin, Celebrini, and Will Smith. Now, he has been out, and he did have a head issue, concussion issue, but that's still great value. Colin Graff on the second line, I'm interested. Regenda and Misa possibly on the third line for San Jose, but Chernyshov's my favorite, just based on the situation, the value, playing with Celebrini and Smith. His props probably are worth a shot, and that's a great price, plus 425 for anybody, really, playing with Mac and with Will Smith on that top line. All right, LA and Calgary next up. We've got Los Angeles minus 140 road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. I mean, you would think LA wins this game, but I'm here to tell you, I like what I've seen from Calgary on this homestand. Really, I like what I've seen from the Flames. They've played better. They had a really bad road trip. It was a very tough road trip, though. Washington, Rangers, Devils, Islanders, Red Wings, and they've come back home, and they're 3-0 on this current homestand at the Saddle Dome. They beat St. Louis 2-1 in a shootout, 4-1 against Florida, 4-3 in overtime against Tampa Bay. Now, I will say they caught Florida and Tampa Bay in brutal spots. As I said on the show when we previewed the last 2 Calgary games, Calgary couldn't have asked for a better situation against Florida. Florida coming off the Edmonton game the night before, and Calgary took advantage of it. Florida, no-show, throwaway game. Kind of that way with Edmonton, too. Edmonton was coming off, or Tampa Bay, rather. Tampa Bay was coming off the Edmonton game, just like Florida, and Calgary took advantage of it. So they caught the Flames and the Lightning and the Panthers. They caught the Lightning and the Panthers, this Calgary team, in beautiful spots to go against them. It's not the case here as much. You got LA coming off back-to-back, 3 straight losses, actually, 2 at home against Buffalo and Philly, 4-3 loss to Utah in overtime on Sunday night. LA is going to come in focused, but I don't know. I'm not laying minus 140 with LA. It's really that simple. Never have I been interested in laying a price like this with LA this season as a favorite. Why the hell would I start now? It would be Calgary or nothing. I don't think I'm going to bet Calgary pregame. Let's see how this starts out. LA could maybe get on the board first, in this game. We'll see. It looks like it's going to be Dustin Wolf for Calgary, Darcy Kemper for Los Angeles. Connor Zary, of course, is still day-to-day for the Flames with the upper body injury from the hit suffered from at the hands of A.J. Greer of Florida last week. So we'll see how it plays out. I'll sprinkle on the over here, 5.5. We talked about the LA Kings overs, and it's been obviously more overs than unders since DJ got here. Now, they've kind of gone over, under lately, so that's kind of what I worry about here. We cashed the over with Kings and Mammoth Sunday, but last couple of times they've had overs, the next game's gone under. That's actually happened 3 straight. The last 3 times the Kings have gone over in a game, the next game has stayed under. So it does concern me a little bit here. But, I don't trust LA defensively at the moment. I'll say this about Calgary. The offense has come alive a little bit. 8 goals in their last 2 games combined against the 2 Florida teams. So like I said, I think that at 5.5, I'm still going to go with it at 5.5 over the total. I don't love it like I've loved some of the other LA overs that I've been betting since the coaching change. But I think there's still enough to like here to take the over. And give me the draw, too. This is another one. Give me the draw here with the Kings and the Flames. Calgary, 2 of the last 3 games have gone past regulation. For the Kings, 4 of the last 8 games for them have gone past regulation as well. These teams have played twice this season. 1 of the 2 games did go to overtime in LA back in December. So I think there's enough draw parameters here that maybe we get this game past regulation. Not to mention LA isn't going to give 2 shits if Calgary gets a point out of this game. They just want the points themselves. So the draw, I think, has got a shot here. And then as far as goal props for this Kings and Flames game, Panarin, 3 straight games with a goal. Victor Olofsson for Calgary and Morgan Frost for Calgary. Both of them good prices in that 400 range to score. Olofsson and Frost both on a 2-game goal scoring streak entering tonight. So I like those 2 looks for Calgary here as far as goal props tonight. Blake, Coleman, and Farabee probably because they're on the top line have a little value. Gridden on the second line for Calgary. I think for LA, Moore and Laferriere could be worth a shot. Laferriere, by the way, before Utah scored in overtime on Sunday to win that game, Utah won it in overtime with Nick Schmaltz. Holy shit, what a chance Laferriere had in that overtime right before Nick Schmaltz ended it on Sunday night. What a chance. It just didn't go in. But he had a great chance there to end it for the Kings in overtime Sunday night. So I think Laferriere, and I like the way for the most part, I like what he's brought to this Kings team most nights. So Laferriere could be worth a look on their side as far as goal props. All right, we roll along here. We've only got 2 games left. Edmonton, Utah. We've got Utah minus, looks like 135 is what we're looking at here with the Mammoth as home favorites. The total here, 6.5 across the board. I don't want Edmonton right now. I can tell you that. It's Utah or nothing. Not taking the Oilers right now. Don't like what I'm seeing. I was just waiting to see who's in net because before the show, I had not seen a confirmation yet. It is Jari. Oh, it is. It's going to be Utah then. All right. Well, never mind. Not betting this. I am going to take Utah now. Minus 135 and Utah team total over while I'm at it. That is how low my confidence is right now in Jari. It's at a very low point. Over 3.5 plus 106 at FanDuel with that Mammoth team total over. Jari's a mess right now. He is. I mean, it's just I've got to see it before I'm ready to believe it. That he's just going to use these 5 games that he's been watching Connor Ingram in net and will just turn things around. These are hideous numbers. Dallas, he got a chance after Ingram got hurt against Colorado. He got a chance against Dallas, and he shit the bed again. 7 goals, terrible. 5 goals allowed to Carolina before that. 5 goals allowed to Anaheim before that. 4 goals allowed to Calgary before that. 5 goals got the old heave-ho against Minnesota before that. 4 goals again allowed to Anaheim January 26th. This is consistently given up 4 a game or more for Tristan Jari right now for this Edmonton Oilers team in net. So I'm on Utah money line team total over split now. I wasn't going to move on this until I knew who was going to be in net. And now, like I said, he's going to have to show it before I believe it from this Edmonton team or from this for him in net to bear down for this Oilers team. I'm going to have to see it now before I'm ready to believe it's going to happen. Obviously, look, it's an Oilers team that struggling right now. It's a Utah team that finally got a home win the other night against LA, much needed because they had been struggling on home ice. Let me just see as well what we're looking at as far as history. Yeah, we've seen 6-3, 7-1, 4-3 in 3 of the 4 meetings with the Oilers and Mammoth head-to-head since these 2 teams, or since Utah migrated here from Arizona. That is worth noting. And the 3 overs also. I'm going to go over Bifecta here as well. Although the over 1.5, I'm going to wait for the betcast tonight because I'm not laying minus 155 on it right now. We'll wait for a live over first period during the betcast, but I will bet over 6.5 pregame here. This is just consistently bad from Tristan Jari. You got to step up, man, and show me you're going to shut the door before I stop, going against you right now. That's where it's at right now for Tristan Jari at this point in time and this Edmonton team. And let's be honest, even with Connor Ingram in net, this is not a team that has really taken off defensively. They really haven't. So they've still got a lot to prove right now. As far as goal props, Lawson Krause still on the top line with Schmaltz and Keller, so I like the value there as far as Krause still on the top line for the Mammoth. If you look at head-to-head success, Paterka and Logan Cooley have had success against the Oilers in the past. Keller and Gunther, as far as recent form, have been pretty solid for the Mammoth. As far as Edmonton, they'll probably face Karel Vejmelka here tonight. You would think Matt Savoy and Vasily Podkolzin flanking Connor McDavid on the top line. I mean, there's probably good value, both of them. Roslovic with Nuge and Hyman on the second line. Josh Szymanski scored last game, and he's someone that's had some chances lately. So if you really want to go down the board and take a bit of more of a swing here, maybe look to Szymanski here for this Edmonton Oilers team for a goal prop tonight. All right, last game, Anaheim Ducks, Vancouver Canucks. We've got Anaheim minus 150, minus 180 road favorites, and 6.5 the total here in this one. Once again, our betcast will wrap up with a Vancouver game. I'm not sure that's the best way to end the betcast, but hopefully it's still an entertaining game. Kevin Lankinen confirmed for Vancouver. Lukas Dostal confirmed here for the Anaheim Ducks. You look at Lankinen here, 1-3-1, 3.26 goals against average, 884 save percentage for him in the month of March. Not great by any stretch of the imagination. He's lost back-to-back games against the Lightning and the Blues. He was better against St. Louis, actually, but still gave up 2 goals. Only faced 20 shots, though. Got lit up by the Lightning, allowed 6 goals on 31 shots, and it's just been a real struggle. It's just been a downer of a season for him, just like the team. I mean, for the entirety of the season, 8-23, 3.62 goals against average, and 876 save percentage here for Kevin Lankinen, which is just not that great. Meanwhile, you look at Anaheim. What a game that was against Buffalo Sunday night. What a game. Made me think, boy, wouldn't it be fun if these teams somehow made it to the Stanley Cup final? I'm not saying this year, but, it could happen, down the road, maybe next year, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, because you got to think Buffalo, now that they finally figured it out, they're going to be good for a few years. Anaheim's going to be good for a really long time with all this great core of young talent they've got. Maybe we will see Ducks Sabres in a Cup final down the road. And if we do, man, if it's anything like that game Sunday night, wow. But great job by Anaheim. Unbelievable by Buffalo to even get a point out of that game down in the third, but Anaheim was able to win it on a Troy Terry breakaway, 6-5 in overtime. Give me Anaheim team total over. That's the main look for me in this game, rather than obviously not taking them on the money line. I'm not crazy about puck lines, as you guys know, just in case Vancouver chips in. But I do like over 3.5 here. Minus 124 is the best price currently available with that Anaheim Ducks team total. Over 3.5, minus 124 for me. The problem with it, because I do lean over 6.5, but are you going to get Vancouver doing enough offensively? That's the question. Are you going to get Vancouver helping you out here? Because for it to go over 6.5, unless it's going to be 5-2 or 6-1 Anaheim, you got to have Vancouver chipping in a little bit here as well. And that's the question. One thing to point out, mentioning how I like the Ducks team total over. Vancouver's actually dominated this series. They are 9-1 in the last 10 meetings versus Anaheim. So, and that includes 2 this year, where Vancouver's one of the worst teams in the NHL, and Anaheim's had this resurgent season. And even in spite of that, Vancouver is 2-0 against Anaheim this year. They beat them 5-4 in Anaheim, November 26th, and they shut out Anaheim 2-0 here in Vancouver in January. So it's hard to make sense of this at this point in time, why Anaheim keeps struggling with Vancouver. But I still think they score 4. That's the bottom line. And I'm not betting Anaheim to win the game. Keep that in mind. Yeah, they're 1-9 Anaheim against Vancouver in the last 10 meetings, but we're not betting Anaheim to win the game. We're betting Anaheim to score 4 goals. There's a big difference. And if you look at least one of the recent losses for Anaheim against Vancouver, the game in Anaheim where they lost 5-4, they did score 4 goals in that game. And if they score 4 here, we cash a ticket. So at this point in time, like I said, I still think they can get to that 4-goal mark. And I think if you're Anaheim too, aren't you sick of losing to these guys? You're like, what's going on here, man? This is one of the worst teams. They're rebuilding. They've had a dismal season. We're 0-2 against them. You got to think the players know that going into this game tonight. Like, we're 0-2 against these guys this season. How have we not beaten them yet this year? How are we 1-? Well, I shouldn't say how are we 1-9. Vancouver's had some good seasons in the past. Tocchet, of course, took them into the playoffs. But this year, you're 0-2, and you're like, no. But this has got to end. We got to beat these guys. So I still think Anaheim can get over their team total. As far as props here for this game, Like I mentioned, Granlund is worth a shot. Scored back-to-back games. He's streaky for Anaheim, and he scored in back-to-back games. How about our guy, Seneca? Beckett Seneca, he scored last game for Anaheim. Troy Terry's been pretty solid since he came back from injury for the Anaheim Ducks here as well. I think on the Vancouver side, Liam Ogren is with Rossi and Besser. I think Ogren and Marco Rossi on that top line both could maybe chip in here for the Canucks in this game. Drew O'Connor maybe could be worth a look on the second line as well for Vancouver. All right, there you have it, guys. Matt Robinson, unfortunately, unable to get the audio working, so had to go solo, unfortunately, but I hope you enjoyed it. We gave you 90 freaking minutes, man, of 15 games on the NHL board. Doesn't get much better than that. Got to give my voice a rest now for a few hours. We got the Betcast tonight. Looking forward to it. Excited. 7 p.m. Eastern. This is one of the biggest cards of the season, not just as far as number of games anymore. I'm talking about the importance of these games. How many games are going to have implications for the division, for the playoffs, you name it, on this Tuesday night slate. So make sure you're there with us, 7 p.m. Eastern tonight, live Betcast. DM or email me for a spot on the Betcast. We'll send you the link before it begins. WizardSportsPicks.com. Check out the website. Daily premium picks, long-term all sports passes available. WizardSportsPicks.com. Number one in NHL and college basketball on the website. So check it out, WizardSportsPicks.com. And, of course, Patreon.com/IceGuys, $10 per month. Get on board. We've got 2, I'm not going to reveal the dates, but I will say that we have 2 April Patreon exclusive live Betcasts coming up in the first 2 weeks of April before the regular season ends. We're going to have 2 of them. Okay, so if you want to be part of those Patreon exclusive live Betcasts, we're going to have tons of them from April to the end of the season. Get on board. It's just $10 per month. Actually, a little more than that if you include the fees, around $14. But the base amount is $10 per month to become a Patreon member. Goalie charts, totals charts on the page, daily betting cards, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. And, of course, we've got plenty of live Betcasts exclusive to Patreon members coming up in April and beyond. So make sure you check it out. $10 per month. And also the Dub Club 1 month all sports subscription with me for not just NHL, but NBA, college basketball. MLB starts this week. I'll be handicapping that and providing picks for that at Dub Club. UFL. Don't sleep on football. Spring football, man. Spring Football League. UFL. I've been handicapping, been betting UFL the last couple of years. I'm betting UFL again this year. That league starts on Friday night, the new season. That's part of the Dub Club subscription for all sports. So get on board. MLB, UFL, in addition to NHL, NBA, college basketball, Dub Club. The $50 off discount for 1 month all sports at Dub Club is available. It's still on the Patreon page, and it's only available to Patreon Ice Guys members. So make sure you check that out. Again, get on board. $10 per month. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. And again, that $50 off Dub Club discount. The Dub Club 1 month all sports price normally is $75. Patreon Ice Guys members have been and can continue to get in on it for $25 for 1 month all sports. That's $50 off the regular price. $25 for 1 month all sports. And what are you getting with that? NHL, NBA, college basketball, baseball, UFL. What more can you ask for? So check it out. $10 per month, patreon.com/IceGuys. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. Patreon.com/IceGuys. And, of course, the Ice Guys store. Get your gear and your merch at the Ice Guys store. That's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, bargain bin special of the night. We'll try to add to it. We did for Patreon members. I know we didn't have a show yesterday, but I did post on the Patreon card. Again, Patreon Ice Guys members, patreon.com/Ice Guys. You saw me post the card yesterday afternoon for the Sens Rangers game, and I did include Warren Foegele as my bargain bin special of the night for the Ottawa Senators, plus 400. We were able to cash that last night. We'll see if we can add to it for bargain bin special of the night for this Tuesday, for this huge, massive Tuesday slate. I'm going to go with two one more time here tonight as far as a bargain bin special of the night is concerned. First bargain bin special for me. I'm blanking on it now. Hold on. I was trying to see here what. Oh yeah, didn't mention this, but this is more of a situational feel. Brandon Montour, Seattle, former Florida Panther, very vocal after they lost to Columbus on Saturday about how poorly they played, and that we need to play better. We need to be more desperate moving forward starting tonight. I'd look for him to have a big game. A good game defensively, maybe get involved a little bit more offensively, and I think he's got a real chance here to maybe find the back of the net. This is just more of a feel for a bargain bin special selection for me, but I feel it in the pit of my gut with Brandon Montour tonight. So Brandon Montour, Seattle, plus 620 is the best price out there for Brandon Montour. The other bargain bin special, San Jose, Igor Chernyshov, returning from injury, playing with Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith on the top line tonight, and you can get him at plus 425 to find the back of the net. So two bargain bin specials, Brandon Montour, Seattle, plus 620, Igor Chernyshov, San Jose, plus 425 for my two bargain bin specials of the night for this Tuesday card. Alex will be back on the Betcast tonight. Anton Frondell, Chicago, in his NHL debut, plus 320 to find the back of the net. And Simon Holmstrom for the New York Islanders, plus 370 to find the back of the net for Alex with his two bargain bin specials here for Tuesday night. All right, best bet for me for this Tuesday. Give me the New Jersey Dallas over. I like it. Stars get their offense going tonight in that game. I think the Devils chip in a couple of goals, and both teams combine to get to that 6 mark. New Jersey's been an over machine. You take out games against snails and offensively challenged teams of late, like Calgary, St. Louis, and Washington, and every other recent New Jersey game has gone over the total. I think Dallas, after only scoring 3 goals combined this weekend against Minnesota and Vegas, they get it back going offensively again tonight. So New Jersey, Dallas, over 5.5, minus 125 for my best bet here for this Tuesday NHL card. Shout out to everyone. We're back tonight in just 3 hours. Ice Guys live Betcast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, DM or email me for a spot on the Betcast. We'll send you the link before or as it gets underway. We're going to send it just after we go live to the people that have requested it so that they can join us on the stream tonight. So looking forward to it. Live Betcast, 7 p.m. Eastern tonight for one hell of a card. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Matt Robinson, who was briefly with us earlier before audio issues unfortunately ended his appearance on the show prematurely, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you in just 3 hours at 7 p.m. Eastern for the Ice Guys live Betcast. And, of course, we'll be back tomorrow on Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern for another edition of the Ice Guys.